Someone has written to me and they present a dilemma of the most profound and terrible weight, a question that touches the very root of our human existence. They say, I have a cancer and find myself in the following dilemma. Should I try to let medicine save my life, even if it may mutilate me? Or should I live with this illness and pain and meet the consequences, which could be death, candidly without an operation? This is a very serious question, isn't it? It's a crisis that strips away all pretense. And perhaps listening to this, you're facing a similar crisis or you fear one. Faced with this, what is your first instinct? Do you want me to decide this for you? Do you want me sitting here to tell you whether to choose the operation or to choose the facing of death? I am asking you this directly because it is the most important part of our inquiry. If you are seeking an authority, an answer from another, then I am afraid we cannot proceed, because this is your life, your pain, your death. I am not your guru, I am not your authority, thank goodness for that, and I cannot hold your hand and tell you which path to take. But what we can do together, you and I, is to inquire into the very nature of this problem, which is not just about cancer, but about pain and how the human mind meets it. We all have illnesses, don't we? We all have pain. It might be physical pain, a terrible, unbearable pain, or the ache of the heart, the pain of loneliness, of grief. And this questioner has cancer, which I believe can be an extraordinary and excruciating form of pain. So before we can even touch the question of what to do, we must first inquire deeply into how we meet pain. Are you interested in this? I am not asking for your academic interest. I am asking if you are willing to look at your own relationship with pain right now. How do you meet it? Think about it. You have had pain, a toothache, a headache, a sudden injury. What is your immediate response? Is it to rush for the pill, for the medicine, for the aspirin? Is it an immediate, instinctive recoil, a no, a pushing away, a desperate search for escape? We have become a society so dedicated to the annihilation of discomfort, so terrified of any sensation that is not pleasure, that we immediately rush to the pill, to the distraction, to the endless scrolling on a screen, all in an effort to avoid the simple, raw fact of what is. Let's make it even more simple. How do you meet a noise? As we sit here, a train might go by, or a car horn blares, or there is a sudden sharp sound. We are trying to think together, to feel our way into this very serious problem, and this noise rushes in. How do you receive it? Do you resist it? Does your mind instantly create a wall, a tension, saying, I wish that would stop? This is disturbing me. I can't concentrate. Or is it possible to let the sound come through you, to observe the vibration of it without any resistance, so that it touches the mind and is gone? Which is it that you actually do? I am not instructing you. We are exploring. I wonder, is that the movement of your own mind, or do you find yourself immediately caught in the net of resistance? When you resist the noise, you have created a conflict, haven't you? There is the noise, and there is your desire for the noise not to be That conflict, that tension, is a form of suffering you have added to the sound. Now, what if you apply this same observation to pain? Let's say you are in the dentist chair. I have spent some time in that chair, like many of us. The drill begins. There is a sharp, intense sensation. What happens? Do you associate with that pain and in that instant identify yourself with the pain? The thought arises, this is me hurting, this is my pain, I am in agony. Is it an immediate identification? Of course, if the pain is too intense, the dentist gives you Novocaine, which is a chemical solution. But if it is not too unbearable, I am asking, can you observe the pain without identifying yourself with it? Can you watch the sensation itself without the eye who says, my God, this is terrible? Which do you do? This is a vital thing to find out. Is it an immediate fusion where the observer becomes the observed, where you and the pain are one and the same entity? Or is there a disassociation, a stepping back, not out of fear, but out of pure observation? When you have that pain, you instinctively grip the chair, you hold your breath, you tense your entire body against the sensation. But if you don't identify with the pain, if you are simply aware of the sensation as a fire, as an intensity, without the me who is suffering it, you might find that you can put your hands out quietly and bear it without that extra layer of psychological fear and resistance. This means we must ask very seriously whether it is possible to disassociate oneself from the actual movement of pain. Don't say it is or it is not. That is merely a conclusion, an opinion. You must find out for yourself in your own life how far, how deeply one can go without identifying, without that immediate verbalization. Ah, I'm in great pain. So we come back to the questioner who I am sorry is suffering so. They ask, what they should I do? How can I possibly decide this? It is perhaps possible that I could hold his or her hand for a while, but that gesture, while perhaps comforting, is not going to solve the problem. The problem is immense. Either one has this great sense of not identifying with the pain, which seems almost impossible when the pain is tremendous, or one must choose a path. And if one can bear this extraordinary pain without an operation, one must also be aware very clearly that such intense, prolonged pain might injure the brain. Haven't you noticed this in yourself? The brain has its own capacity to protect itself. You can bear pain up to a point, and this is because the brain, as I have learned from talking to specialists and from my own observation, has the capacity to bring about certain chemical responses which safeguard it against a certain degree of pain, against a certain amount of grief. But if you have too much pain, if the assault is too great, that capacity is overwhelmed. Beyond that point, the brain may become unconscious, or there is simply a giving up, a breaking down. So the choice the questioner faces is not simple, it is a razor's edge. So we are left with this tremendous question of what to do in the face of suffering, and we see that the brain itself has a mechanism for protection, but that this mechanism can be overwhelmed. And in that state of crisis, in that place of fear and unbearable pain, other questions naturally arise. Don't they? When the body is broken, the mind searches desperately for a solution. One person asks, "What is enlightenment?" And another, as someone here is asking, wants to know about the possibility of healing. Is it possible to heal the cancer not just through medicine but through some other means? Let's look at these two questions because they come from the same root. When you ask, "What is enlightenment?" what are you really asking for? You are in pain or you are in confusion, in sorrow, and you have heard of a state called enlightenment, a state where all this suffering supposedly ends. So you are asking for a way out, aren't you? You are seeking a permanent state of peace, a refuge, a final security. It is exactly the same psychological movement as rushing for the pill to stop the pain, only on a much grander, more metaphysical scale. You want a final answer, a permanent solution to the problem of living. And this search itself is born of the desire to escape what is the confusion, the pain, the uncertainty. And then there is this other question, which is very practical. Is it possible to heal? Is it possible for this cancer, this sickness, to be cured? I understand. This is a vital question. There are people, as you know, who heal by putting their hands on somebody. Now, please, just look at this. Don't agree or disagree, for goodness sake. This is not a matter of belief. It is a phenomenon that has been observed. It has been proved in the sense that people go to these healers. There are people in India, there are several people in England and elsewhere who have this capacity. It is not something mystical or divine in the organized religious sense. It is a capacity. By putting their hands on somebody's head or body, someone who has a great deal of pain, they seem to cure the pain. The pain vanishes. And if I may, the speaker has done this. I have done this quite a lot. But please, I beg of you, listen very carefully. Do not turn up here to be healed. I am not a healer, and you are not my followers. Please, remember this. Do not want to be healed by me. Go to somebody else if that is what you are seeking. We are not here for that. We are here to inquire, and this phenomenon is part of our inquiry. It is possible, but to have such a healing capacity, to really have it deeply, authentically, there must be a very specific condition. There must be no shadow of selfishness. This is not healing in order to get money. This is not healing to build a reputation, to become famous, to feel powerful, to see yourself as a savior. The moment you are healing and give me money, the whole thing is finished. It's a fraud, a trick of the mind. To have this capacity, there must be no quiver of selfishness. There can be no center, no me who is healing you. Now, think about what that means. It means the me must be completely absent. The me is the very structure of selfishness. The me is the bundle of memories, of ambitions, of fears, of desires, of the constant pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. The me is the one who identifies with the pain in the dentist's chair. The me is the one who asks for enlightenment as an escape. And the me is the one who would say, I have a gift, I can heal. The moment that thought, I am healing, arises, the capacity is gone because the self, the ego, has entered. That which heals is something entirely different. It may be a quality of immense love, an intelligence that can operate only when the self centered, self enclosing consciousness of the me is totally absent. So, this is a totally different matter. It is not something you can cultivate, practice, or achieve, because the very you that would try to achieve it is the barrier to it. It is the complete negation of the self that is the healing. And I wonder how many of us are willing to inquire into that. We want the result, the cure, the ending of pain, but we are not interested in the total emptying of the mind, the ending of the me, which is the very root of our suffering. We want to keep our me, our ambitions, our vanities, our nationalistic identities, our beliefs, and also be free from pain. It is a contradiction, a complete impossibility. Therefore, when we are faced with this terrible dilemma of cancer, of intense pain, we see the mind's first movement is to escape, either through medicine, which is a physical, chemical escape, or through a search for a miracle, a healer, or for a state called enlightenment. But all these may be, in essence, the same movement away from the central fact of what is. The real inquiry, the only profound inquiry, is whether the mind can look at the pain, at the fear, at the fact of the illness, and at the fact of death without the me, without the observer who is afraid, who is resisting, who is identifying. Can you observe the pain without the me, who is the sufferer? And can you observe the desire for a cure without the me who is seeking it? This requires an extraordinary attention, a discipline that is not the discipline of conformity or practice, but the discipline of constant awareness, seeing the movement of your own thought, your own self, from moment to moment,